you with a review of my Louis Vuitton Sienna MM. So this is my very first Louis Vuitton bag purchase. So my very first Louis Vuitton purchase was the Zippy wallet, but I decided that I was going to buy myself a Louis Vuitton, my very first Louis Vuitton, after I graduated from grad school and got my master's degree. So I graduated in 2015 in January, and my then boyfriend, at the time now husband, and I went to Las Vegas with a bunch of my friends and a bunch of his friends. I believe it was for his birthday. And we were walking around the shops at the Wynn, and I wandered into Louis Vuitton, and I had been talking about buying a bag and had pretty much talked myself out of it, because for me, right at the time that I had just finished my degree and I was still looking for a job in my field, and I wasn't necessarily ready, but we walked into the Louis Vuitton store at the shops at I think the Wynn or the Encore, whatever the shops are there in Las Vegas, and I was looking at a whole bunch of bags, and so I told the sales associate that I was in the market for my very first Louis Vuitton bag, and she pulled out the Speedy bag, the Speedy B30, I believe is what she pulled out for me, and then she pulled out a Neverfull because she said, well, these two happen to be like people's intro bags because they are the most recognizable, people will have them. And so I immediately said that I did not want the Neverfull. That's really not my style right now of bag. It wasn't my style when I graduated from college, from grad school, and it really isn't now either. I believe I'll probably end up with a Neverfull and use it probably as a baby bag when I have kids. But I don't have kids now, and I don't have a need for like a gigantic bag. I have a bucket bag like that. It's bright pink. My husband bought it for me prior to him becoming my husband. And I think it's a Coach bag. And I wore it a couple of times. I used it when I was in undergrad, I think, for college, to take books and stuff. I've been with my husband for like 6 years. We met while I was still an undergrad. But it was bright pink and really heavy because you can put so much stuff in it. And the straps dug into my shoulders because they're narrow. And so I had that, you know, kind of thought process going about the Neverfull. Like, yes, it's a great bag. You can just throw whatever into it. That's why it's called Neverfull. And I think I didn't enjoy it, so I didn't want that to be my first bag from Louis Vuitton, and then to have that same problem where I just cram it full of stuff because, you know, it's a big bag and I just throw whatever in it and then end up hurting my shoulders and giving me a headache or a neck ache, whatever. So I told her no to the Neverfull, and I was looking at the Speedy, and I still don't have a Speedy because I don't like the way it slouches. I know a lot of people will probably give me a little bit of crap about the slouching because it's very iconic. It's a very iconic look. And yes, you can put a base shaper into it, but at that point in what I wanted, I didn't want to have to extra muss and fuss and put an organizer or a base shaper into the bag. I didn't want it to slouch. I am personally not a fan of slouchy bags. I just don't like them. And I don't like the way that the Speedy bag slouches. I do think it's a beautiful bag when it's structured. But at that point, I just wanted a no muss, no fuss bag. And so I was looking at the Speedy, and I said to her, you know, I like the top handles. I like the bandoulier, but I don't know that I can handle the slouching. I just don't, I'm not fond of it. I don't want to have to put an extra piece in there. It's not something that I'm looking for. And I go back and forth about that bag an awful lot because everybody raves about it. They love it. You can put so much stuff in it. Like, it's everybody's favorite handbag. And I said to her, is there something comparable that doesn't have that kind of slouchy look? And so she said, yes. And this had just come out at that point. It was one of their newer bags. I have this little flap on it that I can move off. But it was one of their newer bags at that point. And she brought it out in the PM and the MM, and I actually took home the PM with me that day. I bought it. I almost had a heart attack because it was my first bag, and I was really excited and very nervous to drop that much money on a handbag. But my husband said, you know you're gonna buy it, just do it. And I said, well, okay. He's a little more impulsive than I am because I wasn't expecting to buy a bag that day. But I ended up with the Sienna PM, which is smaller than this bag. It's a little bit smaller. And what I didn't have with me is my iPad because I was walking around with a teeny tiny purse because we were in Las Vegas. But for an everyday bag, I was at the time, and most of the time if I'm gonna carry a big bag, still do carry a full-size iPad Air 2. I used it when I was working. I was a manager for a company that does behavioral health and autism services in home. So I was using it to record, data and to track my staff because that's just what we did. We used the iPad. So I was putting it into bags, and when I got home and put my iPad into the Sienna PM, it didn't fit. And it wouldn't close. So I immediately put the bag back in the box, didn't touch it, and took it back to the store here in Los Angeles and exchanged it for the Sienna MM. And I took my iPad with me, and it's a full-size Air 2. And so I put it in this bag, and it fits. So that is the reason I went with the MM size, and I will tell you the dimensions. I'm very bad at dimensions and remembering them. So I will tell you on my phone right now. The dimensions of this, it is 13.4 inches across. It is 8.7 inches high, and it is 5.9 inches wide. So this way, it's 5.9, 13.4, and 8.7 high here. It actually, you can see it kind of has this kind of little U dip in it, and it has pleating on it. Let me get this guy off here. You're interrupting our viewing. Okay. So it has this little dip, which I actually thought was really cute, and it pleats here. They only make this in the damier ben too. This bag is not in the monogram. It is only in the damier ben. I did see that there's a bag that looks very similar to this. I'm not sure of the name. If I can find the bag name or picture or something, I will put it here somewhere down here to let you know that there is a bag that looks very similar to this that does come in the monogram print, but this specific, the Sienna, only comes in damier ben. So the top little thing right here says Louis Vuitton Paris. So you can see that. And it has two rivets, two bigger rivets on each side that say Louis Vuitton, and then the two little baby rivets on the front side of this bag. And it does have like the tab on the back side. It just doesn't say Louis Vuitton Paris, and it doesn't have the rivets. So this bag also has, it's a very interesting shape. to the bag. It's really fat at the bottom, so it actually holds an awful lot of stuff. I can fill this puppy so heavy. I can put everything I need for the day in here. I can put a water bottle, I can put my iPad, I can put my full-size wallet, I could put a scarf if I need a scarf for the day, my big makeup bag if I really want to take all of my makeup somewhere. I can put, this is like a workhorse. It doesn't quite fit as much, I think, as the Speedy 30, because I think this is a pretty comparable size to the Speedy 30 this way, but it tapers really thin up here, whereas the Speedy kind of rounds out at the top. So I don't know that it's going to fit as much as the Speedy bag. And the Speedy bag I hear, you can fit like absolutely everything, including like an extra cardigan and, you know, everything but the kitchen sink, maybe including the kitchen sink, I don't know. But I just didn't like that slouching, and this is much more structured. It actually has no feet, but it has like a solid-ish base to it. It has some stitching, and then you can see the Louis Vuitton right here. But there's no feeties on this. That was one thing that I was kind of bummed out that it didn't have like 4 little feeties or 2-bar feeties, but it actually hasn't bothered me. I've had this for almost 2 years now, and honestly, because this was my first Louis Vuitton bag and it was my first like really high-end designer bag before I started my collecting, and this is really what got me hooked. And I used this every day for almost a year, I think, straight. And I have other bags now. I have lots of bags that I trade out so that I'm not using it like constantly. But I used this almost every single day. I love this bag. This was my bag. Everybody knew that Jada was coming with this Louis Vuitton every single day. It was a little, the canvas is a little mushier now because I put so much stuff in it and I've used it for almost 2 years. But it's holding up fairly nicely. It's not too nicked. I mean, you can tell that it's not a brand new bag anymore, but it's not too nicked. You can see, let me see if I take off the lobster clasp here. You can see that the tab is kind of out this and not like sitting flat anymore. And that's just from wear. It's not bad looking. I babied this bag because it was my very first bag. Not that I've not babied all of my high-end bags, but I didn't put this on the floor. I didn't let any of my clients, my kiddos, like play with my bag or, you know, put things on my bag. When I walked into a client's home, I always put this somewhere, maybe up on a table or away from the kiddos. The bandoulier has a little bit of like the stress marks. You can see it's kind of, I mean, I think that just happens with the coated canvas. The dark material. But the handles look pretty good after a full year's worth of use, and then I use this on and off pretty regularly now. This is my go-to. It's raining in Los Angeles now, so it's my go-to bag for when it rains because it's this pretty coated canvas and it's not vachetta, so it's not gonna get worn or have like water droplets. I don't have to worry about that. It does have the bandoulier, so I can wear it as a crossbody. I can wear it as a shoulder bag, which I do occasionally when I need hands-free, but most of the time I just leave the strap down and I carry it on the crook of my elbow. It's kind of my elbow bag. So let me open it up. It has this beautiful big honkin' zipper pull, which is great. The Louis Vuitton zippers, man, these are just the best. So on the inside of this bad boy, it is that bright cherry red fabulousness. And it says Louis Vuitton Paris right here. There's a little tag, and then the date code. The date code's over here. I don't know if you're gonna be able to see it in there, but the date code thingy is right in there. And I do believe that this is a Made in USA bag, if I recall. Yes, so this is a Made in the USA of imported materials. There's the little tag, Made in USA. I think this was they started manufacturing this right after they started manufacturing bags in the United States, which is cool, that's fine. And so there's one big flat pocket here, and then on the other side, on the front of this bag, there are two pockets, and they very easily will fit a cell phone, so you can pop a cell phone right in there. They're deep enough, they hold, that's an iPhone 6, so no problems. This bag has a really wide mouth, so you can open this sucker up. It's not like you don't have a super wide opening. I know some bags, especially when they taper at the top, don't necessarily have that wide opening. But this one, man, you can get in there and just find anything you need. I really enjoy the bright red lining because, I don't know, it helps me see it better. When the brown lining is in there, I just feel like everything's so dark, I can't see. And so I think this was a great purchase for me as a first bag, just because I didn't want the Speedy. And I go back and forth, and maybe at some point in my life I will buy a Speedy. I bought this because it was a little bit different. I love the pleat. I think it's just a really classy shape, this kind of bucket, but it's so interesting because it's got this pleat here, and it's just such a pretty, and it's not something that everybody has. You know, you walk around and see Speedies left and right, which is great. And like I said, at some point I'll probably have one. So who am I to talk? But for my first one, I was like, I didn't want the slouch. And I thought, well, maybe I should get something that not everybody has, so that I could be a little more on the unique side. So that was my thought process in buying this bag. And it retails for, I think this one is, hold on, $1,650 plus tax wherever you are. It does come in a PM size, which I had originally purchased, and that is $1,500. And sorry, I'm looking it up on my phone so that I give you accurate prices for, and then this price hasn't changed. I did buy it. I bought the PM at $1,500, and I repurchased, exchanged for the MM, and it was $1,650. I do have the receipt. It came in that big Mondo bag right back there. That's my big one. It also comes in a GM size, so there is one size bigger than this if you really need lots and lots and lots of stuff to carry with you. The GM is $1,810, and that's 15.7, so it's 2 inches longer this way, so it's out to here, ish, and 11 inches tall and 6.3 across, so it is a larger bag. So if you're looking for a larger bag, that's $1,810 plus tax wherever you are. This is US dollars because I live in Los Angeles. So I really enjoy this. I think it's a great bag. It's not something, I think I've seen maybe 2 people in the last, I've had this for almost 2 years, so I've maybe seen 2 people carrying this bag. It's not something that you see every day. It's in a print that you see every day. I have a lot of the Damier Eben. I really enjoy it. I like the coated canvas. I actually don't have any vachetta leather, anything. I do have monogram print, but none of my monogram anything has any of the vachetta on it. All I have is a wallet that has the monogram and that has no vachetta anywhere on the wallet. And I have the key clay that has the monogram, but it doesn't have any vachetta. I am so deathly afraid of that vachetta and like ruining it. I just can't bring myself to get it. I don't know. I was thinking maybe I would buy the Favorite MM, and I really like it, that look with the vachetta. So maybe that'll be my intro vachetta piece. But for now, this is the only Louis Vuitton bag that I have currently, and it was my very first baby, and I hope you enjoyed this review. And if you'd like to see more, as always, please subscribe below. Thanks.